My name is Cassidy, and I'm 28 years old. You're probably wondering how I ended up living in a shelter. It's a long story. But basically, I told a little lie. A little white lie. Okay? Maybe it wasn't so little, but come on. What was I supposed to do? My family totally overreacted. Like, they changed the locks. My own family. Can you believe it? It all started, I don't know, maybe a year and a half ago. Things with David were fine. He's my now ex. Obviously, he was always, the too nice guy. Like, to a fault. Never wanted to argue. Always trying to make everyone happy, which you'd think would be great, right? But sometimes you just want to have a good old-fashioned screaming match. And he'd just shut down like a broken robot. It was annoying. He was always on about self-improvement and therapy and all that Mr. Growth mindset stuff. It was honestly a bit much. Like, can we just chill and watch a movie without analyzing our feelings? Anyway, we were living together, splitting rent on this pretty decent place. He covered most of the bills, which was cool because my job was, a job. It paid the bills, but it wasn't exactly making me rich. David, though, he had a pretty solid gig. He was always talking about saving and investing. All that boring stuff. I, on the other hand, was more about living in the moment. Why save for a rainy day when it's sunny right now? That was my philosophy. I had my own savings, but that was my money, For me, not for bills or anything boring. He always kind of hinted about it. Like, hey, we should look at our joint expenses, or whatever. But I'd just kind of brush him off. I'd be all, oh, I'm just terrible with money. You handle it, babe. And he always did. What a chump. Things started getting a little tense. I guess he was always questioning where I was going. Like, I'd be out with my girls, Chloe and Harper, and he'd text me every hour. Where are you? What are you doing? Who are you with? It was so annoying. He'd say he was worried, but I knew it was just him being insecure. Meanwhile, he had his own friends, right? Mark and Jason. And I'd be all, oh, so you can hang out with your friends? But I can't. And he'd try to explain it away. Something about how he tells me where he is. Like, who cares? Between us? I totally looked through his phone sometimes, just to make sure he wasn't doing anything shady. He'd never know. I was slick. One night, I was out. It was a Tuesday. I remember that much. I told David I was at Chloe's, but I was actually with this new guy, Ryan. He was super charming. Funny, definitely a little wilder than David. It was just innocent. Just hanging out, grabbing drinks. Nothing serious, but I knew David would freak. He was such a stick in the mud. He'd always say, I just want transparency, Cassidy, and I'd be all, I am transparent. You're just being dramatic. Seriously? He could be so exhausting. Anyway, I was out with Ryan, and my phone died. Of course, just my luck. So I couldn't call David. I didn't get home until super late, like 3 a.m., and he was just sitting there on the couch, in the dark, staring. It was creepy. He didn't even yell. He just looked at me, all quiet and disappointed. That was almost worse than yelling. He just said, where were you? Cassidy. And I tried to play it cool. My phone died. David. I was at Chloe's. She lives kind of far. And we lost track of time. He just nodded, slowly. And then he dropped the bomb. Chloe called here looking for you around 11. She said you weren't with her. My stomach dropped. Chloe, that little bitch. I couldn't believe she'd betray me like that. I had to think fast. Panic thoughts. My mind was racing. If I told him the truth, he'd dump me, for sure. And then what? I'd be stuck paying full rent. No way. So I did what I had to do. I started crying. Real tears, too. I'm good at that. And I told him I'd been kidnapped. I know. It sounds crazy, right? But in that split second, it made perfect sense. I blubbered out this whole story about how I was walking home from Chloe's, minding my own business, when this van pulled up. 2 guys, masked, shoved me in, blindfolded me, said they were going to take me somewhere. I made it sound really scary. I told him how I was so scared. I thought I was going to die. And then, I don't know, I just made up some detail about how they got distracted, or something. And I managed to jump out and ran all the way home. That's why my phone was dead, because they took it and threw it out the window, or something. I was just making it up as I went along. David, bless his naive heart, fell for it. Hook, line, and sinker. He was suddenly all concerned, pulling me into a hug, telling me he was so sorry. He didn't even question the Chloe thing anymore. He just kept asking if I was okay. I nodded, sniffled, and buried my face in his chest, pretending to be traumatized. I mean, it was a little traumatizing, having to come up with that on the spot. So, close enough, right? The next day, it was a whole thing. David insisted we go to the police. I was like, no, I don't want to. It was so scary. I just want to forget about it. But he was all, we have to, Cassidy. These guys need to be caught. I tried to argue, but he was being all stubborn. He's usually so laid back. But when he gets an idea in his head, he's like a dog with a bone. So we went, I had to tell the whole story again, to a cop. It was even harder to keep the details straight. I was sweating bullets, trying to remember what I said to David. The cop was asking questions, like, what did the van look like? Did you get a license plate number? What did they say? I just kept saying, I don't know. I was so scared. It was dark. It happened so fast. The cop looked a little skeptical. I could tell. He kept giving me these weird looks, like he knew I was full of it. I hated him in that moment. What a judgmental prick. David, though, was my champion. He kept telling the cop how brave I was, how lucky I was to escape. He even held my hand. I squeezed it. Playing the part, they said they'd look into it, but I could tell they weren't exactly buying it. After we left, David was still all wound up. He wanted me to go to therapy, get counseling, all that stuff. You've been through a trauma, Cassidy, he said. Trauma. Right. The trauma of having to make up a convincing lie. For a few weeks, it was actually kind of nice. David was extra attentive, always checking on me, bringing me flowers. He even started cooking dinner every night. It was like, oh, so this is what it takes for him to treat me like a princess. I mean, I felt a little bad, seeing how worried he was, but not bad enough to tell him the truth. And besides, it was his fault for being so controlling in the first place, right? If he hadn't been checking up on me, I wouldn't have had to lie. See, zero accountability on my part. But then things started to unravel, slowly at first. My parents, they heard about it, and they freaked out. My mom, Linda, called me every day, crying. My dad, Frank, was all, we need to put bars on your windows. Get a security system. It was just too much. I mean, I love my parents, but they can be so dramatic. And they started getting suspicious too. My mom kept asking me, are you sure you don't remember anything else? Sweetie, not even a tiny detail. And my dad, he actually went to the police station to talk to the officer who took our report. Can you believe the nerve? The cop, obviously, told him there wasn't much to go on. My dad came back, looking all grim. He started asking me all these pointed questions, like, the officer said you told him they threw your phone out the window, but you said you ran all the way home. How did you know your phone was gone if you were running away? I just mumbled something about being disoriented, still in shock. He wasn't buying it. I could tell he was starting to connect the dots. My own father. What a jerk. Then Chloe, that conniving little... I swear, I'm still mad at her. She must have told David what really happened that night. Or maybe he just figured it out. I don't know how. But one evening, he came home and he looked different. His eyes were cold, not sad, not disappointed, just cold. He walked past me, went into the bedroom, and started packing a bag. I was like, what are you doing? And he just looked at me, no emotion on his face at all. I know, Cassidy, he said. I know you lied. My heart pounded. I tried to play dumb. Lied about what? What are you talking about? He just shook his head. About the kidnapping. About everything. Chloe told me you were with someone else that night. And I checked the security footage from the apartment building. You came in alone. No one followed you. No struggle. Just you walking in. Perfectly fine. My mind was racing. Security footage. He never mentioned that. I probably should have seen this coming. This was a dumb decision on my part. I guess I tried to deny it. Of course. Chloe is lying. She's jealous. She always hated me. I even pulled out the tears again. But it didn't work this time. He just looked right through me. It's over. Cassidy, he said. I can't be with someone who lies to me about something like this. Especially not someone who would make up such a horrible story. And then he walked out. Just like that. After all we'd been through, after all I had been through, making up that elaborate lie. He left me, with all the bills to pay now. What a jerk. He totally just left me high and dry. I was furious and scared. I tried to call him, text him, but he blocked me. He blocked me. After all the emotional manipulation I'd put him through, he couldn't even give me a chance to explain myself again. He just cut me off. So, I did what any reasonable person would do. I called my parents. I was crying, really crying this time. David left me. He found out about the lie. He's being so mean. My mom, bless her heart, was sympathetic at first. Oh, sweetie, come home. We'll figure this out. My dad, though, was quiet. Too quiet. I got a bad feeling. When I showed up at their house, they were waiting for me, and they weren't smiling. My dad had this look on his face, like he was looking at a stranger. Cassidy, he said, his voice low. We talked to David. My stomach clenched. What did he say? I asked, pretending to be innocent. My mom started to cry. He told us everything. About you being out with someone else. About the kidnapping story. About how you've been lying to him for months. She paused, her voice shaking. We checked our bank statements. Cassidy, we saw all the money you've been spending. But you haven't been contributing to the bills with David. You lied to us about your expenses too. That's not fair, I yelled. I earn my money. It's mine. And it's not a lie if I just managed it differently. My dad just stared at me. Cassidy, you put us through so much worry. You made us think you were kidnapped. Do you have any idea what that did to your mother? He pointed at my mom, who was sobbing into her hands. And then you expect us to just take you back in, no questions asked. After you've been lying to everyone? But I'm your daughter, I pleaded. Where am I supposed to go? My dad sighed, a deep, tired sigh. We've thought about this. Cassidy, we love you, but we can't enable this anymore. You need to learn to take responsibility for your actions. My mom, through her tears, managed to say, we changed the locks. Sweetie, you can't stay here right now. You need to figure things out on your own. My jaw dropped. They changed the locks. Their own daughter. This was insane. This was all David's fault. And Chloe's. And that stupid cop. And my parents for being so judgmental. Why was everyone ganging up on me? It wasn't fair. I was the victim here. So that's how I ended up in a shelter. It's not great. The food is, well, it's food. And there are other women here. Some of them, okay. Some of them total crazies. I try to keep to myself. I mean, what am I supposed to do? It's not like I have anywhere else to go. My parents still won't answer my calls. My sister, Lauren, who usually always takes my side, has been ignoring me too. She said something about me making them look bad. Like, whose side is she on? My family's just so over the top. I tried reaching out to David again. Begged him to let me come back. He just sent a text that said, I'm happy now. Cassidy, I'm with someone who doesn't lie to me. Someone new, already, that passive-aggressive jerk. He's probably with some boring, plain girl who never challenges him. Good riddance. Honestly, who needs a guy like that? He was always so checked out anyway, so emotionally distant. My friends, Chloe and Harper, they won't even talk to me. Chloe is still mad about the kidnapping thing. Harper just said, Cassidy, you really messed up this time. Like, why does everyone have to be so dramatic? It was just a little lie. It's not like I killed anyone. I just wanted to keep my life easy. Why is that so bad? I'm still at the shelter. I've been trying to find a new job, but it's hard when you don't have a stable address. And the whole kidnapping thing somehow got out. So people at my old job started looking at me weird. I swear, the rumor mill in that office was wild. My boss. He just kept giving me these sideways glances. So I quit. I was like, fine, I don't need this place. Sometimes I think about what David said, about him being happy now, and I think about my parents living in their nice house, probably feeling all righteous, and my sister probably gossiping about me. It's infuriating. I don't care anymore. Let them be happy. Let David be with his new boring girlfriend. Let my family pretend they're perfect. I'm fine. I'll figure it out. It's not my fault any of this happened. It's everyone else's. They just didn't understand me, and they definitely overreacted. I mean, putting me in a shelter, that's just cruel. I just wish I'd thought of a better lie. That's the real mistake. Honestly, not the lying itself. Just the execution.